So how is there light without the sun yet being created? Classic questions. You read like commentaries over the ages, thousands of years. It's like, how was there light? What was going on there if the sun wasn't there? That light is Christ. It's Christ shining. In fact, the sun itself, I don't mean to get, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but the sun itself, like, you know, the sun that's not outside right now because it's raining, that big glowing orb thing that the whole world revolves around, right? And, you know, right here it's talking about the night and the day. How is there night and day without the physical sun? This is Genesis. This is the first verses. And some people will criticize Genesis and be like, that's why it all falls apart, because they didn't know what they were writing about. They totally knew what they were writing about. Christ is the light. Right? The sun is actually just a representative of who Christ is. You know, you ever heard about like on earth as it is in heaven, right? Like a lot of things here on earth, they're really shadows and symbols of greater truths in the heavenly realm. And the sun and the moon and the stars are no different. The sun that lights up all of our physical world and brings light and life to this physical world, that our whole world revolves around, that our whole world will die without. It's just a representation of something much greater than itself. It actually represents the light of Christ. It actually was a representative of Jesus. I don't mean to get like too crazy, but when you look at the moon at night, what the light that shows up in the nighttime, that shines, the moon shines, but it doesn't shine with its own light. It actually shines with the light of the sun that reflects off of it, because the moon itself doesn't glow. And you read in the scriptures, I don't want to lose anybody here, but when you read in the scriptures, that's like the church. We don't shine with our own light. We reflect the light of Christ. And while Christ is away, it's the church's job to shine in the darkness. So then you start looking at all these things and you say, these realities that we take for granted every day going outside, there's the sunlight, there's the moon, whatever. We see these things all the time and we forget that God has baked the truth of himself into our creation, that we can see it all kinds of different ways in many different places. Because that's the power of his glory. All things were created through him, right? Through him. Does that mean creation is God? No, creation is not God. We don't worship creation. We don't worship the sun. We don't worship the moon and the stars. You know, when you sleep, I think I mentioned this once before, but these truths are just baked in. Like we're telling the story of God without realizing it sometimes. When we forget, I forget, you forget, we go around, we live our lives, we forget that we bear this image that God has created us with. That we go through these motions. We lay down, we wake up. We lay down, we wake up. We do all these things. We go through this motion, and we're playing, and we're singing. Our body and our lives, without even us knowing sometimes, are just pointing to this much greater truth that existed from the beginning. It's right there in the first verses of Genesis, written thousands of years ago. Right there.